My husband's first wife died mysteriously. She loved this house, he said, leading me to her locked boudoir. That night, I heard soft laughter from inside. The door swung open on its own, candles flickering. A dress floated from the closet, invisible hands slipping it over my shoulders. My husband stood in the doorway, eyes wide. You're not supposed to be back. I met Caleb when I wasn't looking for anyone. I just finished dragging myself through a painful divorce. My ex had drained our accounts, lied for years, cheated with a girl barely out of college. I was raw, humiliated, barely sleeping. Then Caleb came into my life like a calm breeze. We met at an estate sale of all places, both reaching for the same vintage lamp. He was kind, funny in a dry way, and surprisingly open about his past. He told me up front he'd been married before. His first wife, Delilah, had died after an accident. His voice got tight when he said that, like it still hurt. She fell, he said. Down the stairs. It was fast. No time to say goodbye. I didn't push. I figured when he was ready, he'd tell me more. But he didn't. Even after we got serious. Even after he proposed only 5 months later. When he showed me the house, his house, the one he said Delilah had loved, I won't lie, I was hesitant. It was beautiful, in a haunted kind of way. Big old Victorian in Galena, Illinois, right near the river. Tall windows, crown molding, creaky floorboards. The kind of place with stories soaked into the walls. She picked every piece of it, he said. Wouldn't let me change a thing after we moved in. Even then, he sounded more careful than nostalgic. Like he was afraid to disturb something. One room stayed locked. Always. He called it Delilah's boudoir. She used to spend hours in there, he said. Said it was where she could breathe. I keep it closed out of respect. I didn't ask for the key. I figured he needed that boundary. I respected it. At first, the house was quiet. Peaceful, almost. But after a couple weeks, I started noticing things that didn't add up. Lights flickering. Not like bad wiring, more like someone flipping the switch back and forth. I'd walk into a room that smelled thick like roses, even though I hadn't put any flowers out. I'd wake up to find my clothes neatly folded on the chair, even though I hadn't done laundry. I kept brushing it off. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I wanted too badly to feel safe. I didn't want to sound crazy. Then one afternoon I came home early from work and found the boudoir door cracked open. I stood there, frozen. I swear I hadn't touched it. Caleb hadn't mentioned anything. Inside, everything was untouched, but spotless. Velvet drapes. A small writing desk. A tray of old perfume bottles lined up like soldiers. A single dress in the closet, deep red, floor-length, with beaded sleeves. It looked like something out of a black and white movie. She wore that the night before she died, Caleb said behind me. I jumped. I hadn't heard him come in. She said it made her feel powerful, he added. Then he closed the door without saying anything else. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to soft laughter. Like someone was amused by something they shouldn't be. I sat up, heart pounding. The boudoir door was wide open. The hallway was dark, but inside the room, candles flickered like they'd been lit by hand. I got out of bed slowly. The floor felt cold under my feet. Every step I took toward that door felt like I was walking into someone else's dream. When I reached the room, the closet door creaked open by itself. And the dress, it floated. Not like it fell off a hanger. It floated. It glided through the air toward me, slow and graceful. Then I felt something I'll never forget, hands. Cold, light, but firm. Invisible hands slipping the dress over my shoulders, smoothing it down my arms. Like I was a doll. Then I heard Caleb's voice from behind. You're not supposed to be back. I turned around. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring at something behind me, or through me, I couldn't tell. He looked terrified. And for the first time since I'd met him, I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Not grief. Not fear. Guilt. That's when I knew. Delilah wasn't gone. And Caleb had lied to me. So this happened a little over a year ago, and I still can't explain half of it. I'll try to tell it straight. No games. No drama. Just what happened. A guy named Doug needed someone to house-sit his family's old farmhouse. He didn't know me that well. I was a friend of his cousin, Reese, who I'd played darts with a few times at this little place in Temple, Texas. Reese vouched for me, said I was trustworthy, and Doug was desperate. He called me on a Monday afternoon. 2 weeks, he said. Just feed the chickens, check the mail, and water the garden. I'll leave a list. Sounded easy enough. I was between jobs, staying in a cheap rental, and needed the cash. When I got there, the place was about what I expected. Remote. Old. The kind of house that still had wallpaper peeling in the corners and a faint smell like someone once smoked there but hadn't in years. The nearest gas station was 15 minutes away. There were cornfields on 3 sides, and an old barn about 100 yards behind the house. The wind made everything creak. Doug didn't waste much time showing me around. It was like he wanted to get out as fast as possible. Said he had to drive straight through to Casper, Wyoming, some family emergency, never said what. Right before he left, he stopped by a door near the pantry. It looked like any other door in the house. Old wood, black iron hinges. Nothing special. He pointed at it. This one stays locked, he said. No exceptions. What is it? I asked. Cellar. Don't open it. Don't mess with it. Don't even think about it. I laughed a little, but he didn't. Seriously. Just don't. And then he was gone. That first day was fine. I did my little chores, watched the sun go down from the porch, and fell asleep watching some rerun cop show on my laptop. It was quiet. Too quiet. But peaceful. That changed by night too. I was just dozing off when I heard something. It wasn't loud at first, just creaking. Like footsteps. Not above me, not outside. Inside. And it was heavy, like someone walking slowly, one step at a time. I grabbed my phone and checked the time. 12:17 a.m. At first, I thought it was the house settling. Old houses make noises, right? But the steps got closer. They came from the kitchen. Then I heard the floor creak again, right by the pantry. I sat up straight. My heart was racing. I stayed frozen on the couch, listening. And then something tapped. Just once. Sharp. Like a single knuckle against a door. The cellar door. I stood up slowly and walked to the kitchen. Every step felt like a mistake. The door looked the same. Closed. Still locked. I was about to turn around when I heard it. A whisper. Low and rough, like someone speaking through grit. We know you're here. I don't know how to describe the sound. It wasn't a normal voice. It didn't come from just one person. I felt it in my chest. Like it wasn't just outside the door, it was inside me. And then I saw it. A hand. No, not a full hand. Just fingers. Pale, grayish skin, like it had been soaked in water too long. They curled around the bottom of the doorframe, slow and careful. That's when I snapped. I ran out the back door, didn't grab my phone, didn't grab my shoes. Just ran into the cornfield, barefoot. I didn't stop until I reached the tree line near the old barn. I called Reese. No answer. I called the police. And when they showed up, things got worse. They opened the cellar. And what they found down there made them bring in more than just local cops. They called in the state. They called in people in suits. Doug never came back. And I found out the truth. About the cellar. About why I was brought there in the first place. But that's another part of the story. The cops took 43 minutes to show up. By the time they arrived, I was standing barefoot in the dirt beside the barn, holding my phone like it was a lifeline. My feet were bleeding from stepping on rocks. I kept looking over my shoulder toward the house. 2 deputies pulled up in a dusty cruiser. One older guy, must have been near retirement. The other, young, looked fresh out of the academy. Neither of them believed a word I said. "You saw a hand?" the older one repeated, sounding tired. "Yes," I said, almost yelling. It curled around the doorframe. And someone whispered. It said, "We know you're here." The younger one, Lopez, exchanged a glance with the older guy, Collins. I caught it. This guy's cracked look. Still, they agreed to check it out. They told me to wait in the cruiser. I watched from the window as they stepped into the kitchen with their flashlights. They stood outside the cellar door for a while. I saw them talking but couldn't hear a word. Then Lopez pulled out a key from the ring I gave him and unlocked the cellar. They went down. That's when I stopped breathing. I waited 5 minutes. 10. Then I heard shouting. Lopez ran out first, his face pale, muttering something into his radio. He looked right at me through the cruiser window, eyes wide like he'd seen something no one should see. Collins came next, holding something wrapped in a tarp. His hand was shaking. They didn't let me see it. But I caught a glimpse. Hair. Matted. Black. And a human hand, small, like a child's, dangling from the end of the tarp. They took me in for questioning. Said they needed to sort things out. What I didn't know then was that they didn't just find one body in that cellar. They found 3. And something else. A metal cage. Bolted into the dirt floor. With chains. And carvings in the wood around it. Old words. Scratched deep. They kept me at the station all night. In the morning, 2 black SUVs showed up. No markings. No plates. 3 people in suits got out, 1 woman, 2 men. They didn't say who they were with, but the cops stepped aside for them. They took me into a small room and sat across from me. The woman leaned in. "How did you know about the cellar?" "I didn't," I said. "Doug told me not to open it." "That's it." She nodded like she expected that. "Did you see the child?" That's when my blood ran cold. "No," I said slowly. "I saw a hand. It didn't look alive." The man beside her spoke for the first time. "Doug's full name is Douglas C. Rayner, correct?" I nodded. "He's wanted in 3 states. Human trafficking. Missing persons. He vanished 2 weeks ago." That's when it hit me, why he left in such a hurry. Why he didn't show me anything in the house. Why he was so insistent about that door. I wasn't just house-sitting. I was bait. They thought Doug might come back. Or that someone tied to him would. They figured if the place looked lived in, it might draw someone out. I'd been used. And the worst part? I still didn't know who, or what, was whispering in that cellar. The woman slid a photo across the table. It was the same hand I'd seen. But not on a body. It was pinned to a board with metal clamps. Old. Deformed. This was taken in 1987, she said. Same house. Same cellar. I looked up at her. What is this place? She looked at me for a long time before answering. We think Doug was just the latest. The house has had 9 owners in 70 years. Every one of them disappeared. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. I sat on the edge of the bed, still wearing Delilah's dress, trying to make sense of what happened. Caleb had walked away without another word, leaving the boudoir door open behind him. I thought maybe he'd explain, maybe say something in the morning. But he didn't. When I got downstairs, he was in the kitchen like nothing had happened, flipping pancakes like it was a Sunday morning in a TV show. He looked up, smiled like always. Sleep okay? I stared at him. You saw what I saw. His hand stopped mid-flip. I don't know what you mean. Don't lie to me, I said. My voice was shaking. That dress. The candles. The way you looked at me. You said I wasn't supposed to be back. What did you mean? He went quiet. His jaw tightened. Then he turned off the stove and leaned on the counter. Delilah was complicated, he said. She believed in things. Spirits. Energy. She said the house was alive. That it listened. I waited, but he didn't keep going. Did you kill her? I asked. His head snapped up like I'd slapped him. No. She fell. I told you that. Did you push her? He didn't answer. He didn't deny it either. That day I searched the house. I waited until he left for work and started looking for anything, documents, old journals, even old photos. Something about the boudoir made my skin crawl, but I went back in. Behind the vanity, hidden under loose floorboards, I found a stack of letters. Handwritten, addressed to no one. Some were love notes. Some were angry, scrawled in thick ink, like they were written in a rage. The last one stopped me cold. It said, if I vanish, if I die in this house, he did it. He made me feel crazy. He made me feel small. He says he loves me, but he wants to control me. If I'm gone, it wasn't an accident. It was dated 2 days before she died. I started digging. I looked up old police reports. There weren't many. Just one death certificate. Cause, accidental fall. No autopsy. But I found something else, an obituary written by her sister, Anna. It mentioned unanswered questions, and how Delilah was afraid in the end. I called the number listed under Anna's name. She answered. Hesitant at first. But when I said who I was, she went quiet for a second and then said, Are you living there now? Yes. I'll come to you. Tonight. That night, Anna showed up. She looked nothing like Delilah, but the grief in her face had the same shape. Hard edges, tired eyes. He didn't just kill her, she said after I showed her the letter. He ruined her before he ever touched her. She told me Delilah had tried to leave. More than once. But Caleb had isolated her. Said she was unstable, got doctors to write her off as paranoid. Told her family she wasn't well. Slowly made her believe it too. She finally got strong enough to leave, Anna said. She packed a bag. Called me. Said she'd meet me in Chicago. She never showed. Anna gave me more than stories. She gave me proof, screenshots of texts, voicemail recordings of Delilah crying, saying she didn't feel safe. I knew then that Delilah didn't just want revenge. She wanted help. She was trying to protect me. Maybe from him. Maybe from turning into her. But the house wasn't just haunted. It was watching. The more I learned, the more it responded. The lights would go out when I picked up her letters. Music would play from nowhere, her voice, singing, soft and sad. One night, I found the mirror in the boudoir fogged up with words. He lied to you. That was the night I stopped sleeping altogether. After Anna left that night, I stayed awake sitting on the floor of the boudoir. I couldn't bring myself to go to bed. The room didn't feel scary anymore. It felt like the only place in the house where I wasn't completely alone. That's when I started noticing the patterns. The lights always flickered at 2:17 a.m., the time on Delilah's death certificate. The candles in the boudoir only lit when I touched something that belonged to her. The mirror fogged up every time I found a new piece of her story. And then, one night, I heard footsteps upstairs when I knew Caleb was out. I grabbed my phone and slowly made my way up the staircase, each creak of the wood louder than the last. I thought maybe Anna had come back without calling. But when I got to the boudoir, the door was closed again. And locked. I hadn't locked it. I leaned in and whispered, "Delilah?" Nothing. Then I heard a soft click, and the door swung open on its own. Inside, the candles were lit. The red dress was gone. In its place was a white nightgown, laid out on the bed like someone had carefully prepared it for me. On the vanity mirror, words had appeared again in the fog, "He's done this before." I froze. Before? The next day I drove to the courthouse, said I was doing a genealogy project, and asked for public records on Caleb. I didn't expect much. But I got a copy of an old marriage license I'd never seen. There was a name on it I didn't recognize. Aubrey Lynn McAllister. Married in 2004. That was 10 years before Delilah. I searched the name. Got nothing useful, no social media, no death records, no divorce. Just one article in a small Indiana newspaper. Local woman missing. Husband claims she ran away. The husband's name was redacted in the digital copy. I had to go in person to the county clerk to get the original. I held my breath as they slid the file across the counter. Spouse, Caleb Richard Moore. I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. That night, I confronted him. He came in from work, sat down at the table like it was any other night. "I found something," I said. "You were married before Delilah." He looked up. Blinked slow. "What are you talking about?" "Aubrey McAllister. Married in Indiana. She disappeared. You were her husband." He stared at me, silent. Then he stood up and poured a glass of water, like I hadn't said a thing. "You shouldn't go digging through things you don't understand." That's when I realized, he wasn't shocked. He wasn't scrambling to come up with a lie. He was calm. Like he'd done this before. Like he had rehearsed it. I didn't sleep that night either. I stayed in the boudoir. I sat in her old armchair and waited. Around 2:17 a.m., the lights flickered. The candles lit themselves. The vanity mirror fogged. This time, it didn't say words. This time, it showed a face. Not Delilah's. Someone younger. Lighter hair. Smaller frame. Aubrey. She looked terrified. Then she mouthed one word. "Run." I didn't run. I should have. I should have packed a bag that night and disappeared before Caleb got home. But I stayed. Not out of bravery, no. I stayed out of pride. I didn't want to be another woman who vanished quietly. I wanted the truth out. I wanted justice for Delilah. For Aubrey. And maybe even for myself. The next morning, I made an appointment with a private investigator. Anna paid for half. Said she owed her sister that much. We gave the PI everything we had, photos of Delilah's letters, the public records from Indiana, the screenshots, the mirror messages. He didn't laugh. He didn't doubt me. He just said, "I've seen worse." He got to work fast. Within a few days, he found out something else. Aubrey's parents had tried to report her missing 3 times. Each time, Caleb gave them a note, allegedly from her, saying she didn't want contact. Each note was typed. None signed. The PI ran a background check on Caleb. He found a sealed case from Kentucky in 1997. The records were thin, but it was something about domestic conflict. The woman involved disappeared. That made 3. 3 women. 3 ghosts. And somehow, I was still here. I waited until Caleb left for a conference that weekend. He was gone for 2 nights. I had the house to myself. That first night, the house woke up. Every light flickered. Every mirror fogged. The perfume bottles on Delilah's vanity rattled in place like something was shaking the floor from underneath. In the hallway, the wallpaper peeled back in a long vertical stripe. Behind it, scribbled words in red marker, "Stop him before he does it again." I stood there shaking. Not from fear, but from knowing I had a choice. I could leave. Forget it all. Let someone else figure it out. Or I could do what the others couldn't. The next day, I emptied a flash drive onto 3 separate devices, my laptop, the PI's server, and a backup hidden in Anna's attic. I recorded everything I had. Then I cleaned the boudoir one last time. The night Caleb came home, I wore Delilah's red dress. He walked through the front door, suitcase in one hand, keys jangling in the other. When he saw me at the top of the stairs, he froze. "Where did you get that dress?" he asked. His voice was tight. "You remember this one, don't you?" I said. "She wore it the night before she died." He started up the stairs slowly. "Take it off." "No, you don't understand what you're doing." "I do," I said. "I'm ending it." He was halfway up the stairs when the lights went out. All of them. The whole house dropped into darkness. Then the candles lit, room by room, one by one, until only the staircase glowed. Then we both heard it. Footsteps. But not ours. They were behind him. He turned. The sound came faster, like someone running, heels on hardwood. Then a slam. The front door locked itself. Then the mirrors began to shatter. One after the other. Delilah's laughter filled the air, higher, louder, sharper than I'd ever heard it. Caleb turned back toward me, wild-eyed. "Make it stop," he yelled. "You made this," I said. "You brought them here. Please," and then it happened. He fell. I didn't touch him. I swear. But he was yanked backward, arms flailing, feet slipping. He tumbled down the stairs just like Delilah. Just like he said she did. But this time, it wasn't fast. It was slow. Like someone made him feel every step. When he hit the bottom, he wasn't moving. And then the candles blew out. I stood there, alone again, my breath caught in my throat. Then the hallway mirror fogged. And one last message appeared. "Thank you." I called the police. Told them I found Caleb like that when I got home. Told them about the letters. The investigator backed me up. Anna came forward. It all came out, the past wives, the lies, the fake notes. The case reopened. The news covered it for weeks. Midwest husband linked to multiple missing women found dead in mysterious fall. The house is quiet now. Too quiet. I sold it and left Galena. But some nights, I still wake up at 2:17 a.m. And sometimes, in the mirror, I think I see a flash of red. Just for a second. Then it's gone.